Alright, what's up, everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we got another episode of the Look In series, a series where I go through all 30 teams at the end of their season. And yeah, talk about the future of the team, recap their season, look at the state of the team, and all the stuff like that. Today's episode is on the Milwaukee Bucks. Got a lot to talk about here with that team. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right to it. So the Milwaukee Bucks this season, they finished the regular season 49-33, third in the East. And for the second year in a row, they lose in the first round, this time to the Indiana Pacers in 6. Of course, they had the Giannis injury that he unfortunately had to miss the entirety of the series. Damian Lillard missed 2 games in this series as well, which really, really hurt. And the Pacers took advantage of that. Shout out to the Indiana Pacers for taking care of business. But yeah, the Bucks this year, of course, we come into the season. They make the big trade. They trade for Damian Lillard to match with Giannis after a out of nowhere tough first round loss last season to the Miami Heat when they were a number 1 seed. And Giannis got to put pressure on them. They came back and said, Giannis, okay, we'll give you Damian Lillard. Here you go. They fire Mike Budenholzer. They bring in Adrian Griffin. And the Bucks are looked like as obviously a contender. They won a championship about 3 years ago. And they haven't made it back to the finals or the conference finals since. So now it's kind of like, time to, get this back going. And this entire year, things never really looked great for Milwaukee. Of course, they finished top 3 in the East. They had some good moments, but things just never looked like the elite championship contender that we all thought they were going to be coming into the season. That's for a couple of reasons. One, Damian Lillard did not have the most amazing season. I mean, he still was all-star starter. He still averaged 24, 7 assists. He still was kind of Damian Lillard, but he didn't have the same Damian Lillard type season that he's had the past couple years that we expected. Chris Middleton only played in 55 games in the regular season. He struggled with injury more. The defense was never really there, especially on the perimeter. Malik Beasley shot 41% from 3, but defensively he didn't really do much. They had to bring in Patrick Beverley and put Patrick Beverley in the starting lineup for some defense. Brook Lopez didn't have an amazing regular season that he did usually. And then the coaching situation where Adrian Griffin coached the first 43 games, 30-13, they decided, you know what, things aren't going as well as we thought when we hired him. Then they bring in Doc Rivers. And having to adjust to a new coach midway through the year, they got him really right before the All-Star break. They had to adjust to that. And then, of course, they had the Giannis injury at the end of the season, going to the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers. Then you have Damian Lillard miss a couple games, and things just never really seemed to get going for the Milwaukee Bucks. And now, for the second year in a row, they eliminated it in the first round, which is really tough. Now you look at this team, back-to-back first-round exits after coming off winning a championship in 2021, 2020. The last 3 years, they've just had the injuries at the worst time the last 3 years. 2022, Chris Middleton got injured in their first round series against the Chicago Bulls. They went to the second round and lost in 7 to the Boston Celtics. And if Chris Middleton's in that series, who knows what happens there. And then, of course, last season, 2023, you had Giannis getting injured in Game 1 of the playoffs against Miami Heat. They sit him out for a couple games because they thought, we're still good enough. And Miami came out and Jimmy Butler put on an historic performance, and they took him out. And then this year, of course, Giannis again gets injured right before the playoffs start, forced to miss the entire series, and then Damian Lillard also misses a couple of games in the series that could have changed things. So 3 years in a row, they've had very bad injury luck, which is a little bit of, I guess I'm going to have to say an excuse, which is why I'm not super panicked or worried about this Milwaukee Bucks future because, again, the last 3 years, they have had bad injury luck. And in the playoffs, when you're trying to win a championship, you need injury luck. You just do. It's a thing. And the Bucks, unfortunately, have not had that luck for the past couple years. And so now we look at this team, and it's kind of like, dang, which is why I don't think the Bucks are going to be panicking too much about this one because again, they didn't have Giannis for the entire series, and of course Giannis is Giannis. He literally had a career year this year, and he's again obviously one of the best players in the NBA. So if he's in the series, they probably win this. So like that's why I don't think they're going to be fretting and kind of panicking and pulling their hair out so crazy this offseason. I mean, of course, they still have championship aspirations and they still want to be an elite team, and having this kind of back-to-back first round exits, not haven't even made it back to the conference finals since that championship, is tough. But I don't think it's something that they're going to be too worried about having to push the panic button and having to make all these big trades and stuff. But they definitely do have to make some changes. You know, um, Speaking of, I'm going to this future offseason. This offseason, their picks in the draft, they're going to have their first round pick via the New Orleans Pelicans. Them and Pelicans are swaps. So they're going to have about the 23rd pick in this draft, which is good because the Bucks were one of the oldest teams in the league. They didn't have a lot of young guys out there, and the Pacers just had a lot of more athletes than the Bucks did. So I think the Bucks in this draft should, I think, be looking at defensive wings. I think is the one position that they definitely would need. Looking at some guys here, Kevin McCullough from Kansas. I think he's a guy that one of my favorite players in the draft. I feel like every time I'm talking about a playoff team, I'm talking about Kevin McCullough because he's just a guy that is a veteran guy. He's 23 years old and he knows what his role is going to be. He's going to be in that Bruce Brown type of mold of player. So I think championship teams and playoff teams acquiring those type of guys in the draft that can plug right in and know their role already, I think that's going to be big. Even a Devin Carter for Providence, even though he's a point guard, he's going to bring with a lot of fight, intensity, and defensively he's going to be there. So maybe having a defensive wing, even though again he's a point guard, but I think that'd be nice. Even maybe like trying to look at some other guys here, so maybe some defensive type of dudes that also can be upside. Maybe Tristan Da Silva from Colorado. He's another senior type guy. Maybe Tyler Kolek from Marquette. I don't know if you want a point guard. You have Johnny Furphy from Kansas. He's a shooter. I don't know too much about his defense to be fully honest, but maybe Dylan Jones from Weber State, Jalen Tyson from California. Like there's some guys in there. There's some guys in here. Again, this draft has been classified as kind of like more of a role player type of draft. So I think having these picks, having guys like this, I think would be nice for playoff type teams like the Milwaukee Bucks. Then they're also going to have a second round pick via Portland. So they're going to have about the 33rd ish pick in the draft as well. So they have two picks very close to each other where they can get one guy and then the second round they can maybe take a chance on a younger guy with some higher potential or try to get another senior type role player on their team. So yeah, the Bucks draft picks are going to be fine. They look at free agency, negative 66 million projected cap space, bottom 10 in the league in cap space. So they're not going to have a lot of wiggle room. The only really big free agents they're going to have is Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, and Jay Crowder. All three are unrestricted free agents. So, they're going to have to maybe think about Malik Beasley bringing him back. I don't know. Maybe bring Pat Bev back. I don't know. Jay Crowder, maybe he missed a lot of time this season. In the playoffs, he kind of didn't really play that much. So I don't know how much they believe in that. But I do think the Bucks are going to have to make some changes. Nothing too drastic and serious like trading a player or anything like that. But I definitely think some changes are going to be made. I think one, trying to find, again, more maybe younger athletic guys. I think you could build that through the draft. And also some perimeter defense. You already have Damian Lillard out there, who we know is not an amazing defender. You also have Chris Middleton out there, who has been dealing with injury problems the past couple of years, and we know he's not the same Chris Middleton. Even though this playoff series against the Pacers, he was their best player. He was absolutely amazing in their playoff series. But, he's 32 years old. The knees have been bothering him. We just can't really rely on him to be an amazing defender anymore. And then Brook Lopez also is not getting any younger either. He's 35 years old. Giannis is still really good, but they got to get some defense in there, especially on the perimeter. So I think maybe trying to find guys. I think Patrick Beverley was a good move. Guys that could bring fight, hustle, some heart on the defensive end. I think it would be nice for this Bucks team. Doc Rivers, I'm expecting he's going to stay coach. I'm not expecting him to get fired or anything like that. I'm expecting Doc Rivers to be the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks next season, because I think they're going to try to maybe see if they can get an full off season of him, putting his game plan and his touch on the team. Because you got to remember, again, Doc Rivers came in February. It's hard to come in February on a team in general, not nevertheless a team with championship aspirations, to just get hired randomly on the spot in February and say, all right, bring this team to the championship. Like that's hard to do. So maybe a full off season of, putting his game plan in and, practices and stuff like that can make this team better next year and they play better. Their defense did get better under him, which is good. But yeah, again, I don't think this Bucks team is really going to be pulling their hair out saying, "Oh my God, we got to make a crazy move. We got to trade Chris Middleton or anything like that this offseason." Because I don't think, again, they're going to look at it and be like, you know what? Giannis didn't play in this first round series. Get a full year, full offseason of Doc Rivers. Dame maybe have a better year next year after one full year in Milwaukee, kind of getting more comfortable being here. And if we make a little changes here and there around the edges to get a little bit better here and there, little margins, we can be a good team. That's what I'm expecting from the Milwaukee Bucks next season, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, also like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. If you missed any other look at episodes, they should be up here. There's playlists up here. You can go check those out. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.